Have you ever walked into a room and felt every pair of eyes scanning you? They smile, but deep down, they're searching for the crack where you might break. One tiny opening, and they'll exploit it to the fullest. In this world, no one hands you respect for free. People only stop when they see you are untouchable. The greatest mistake most people make, believing that kindness is a shield. But here's the ruthless truth. Kindness does not protect you. Only distance, silence, and inner power are strong enough to keep them from touching you. Machiavelli once wrote, "If you cannot be both loved and feared, it is safer to be feared." That principle is just as true today. A boss who stays calm in the face of insolence. An investor who remains cold in a storming market. A man who stays silent under online attacks. They are not easily touched, and that's exactly why they are respected. If you click away right now, you will keep being read and manipulated. But if you stay, you'll learn how to turn your mind into an impenetrable fortress. So ask yourself, when was the last time a careless comment stole your sleep? How many times have you been drained by someone unworthy? If you've ever felt that, drop just one word in the comments. Fortress. Because from this moment on, you begin building your own stronghold. Yet, shutting people out is not enough. Real power only comes when you eliminate access completely. Have you ever wondered why you're always exhausted? It's not because you don't work hard enough. It's because anyone can reach you at any moment. Knock on your door, demand, pull you away. And the ruthless truth is, you were the one who handed them the key. Every time you stop your work to answer a meaningless message, every time you nod yes to a meeting you wish you could refuse, every time you let someone else schedule your hours, you are teaching the world that your time no longer belongs to you. The strong are different. They're not easy to find. They are like an iron gate, opening only when they choose, for those who truly deserve it. Think back. When was the last time you flat out declined an invitation just to spend time with yourself? Or have you grown used to nodding, only to regret later that you sold your precious hours so cheaply? Time is the only asset you cannot buy back. Each passing minute is a piece of life lost forever. The more accessible you are, the cheaper you become. The harder you are to reach, the more respect you command. Imagine this. You're handing out coins to anyone who knocks. How long before you dare to lock the door? Power does not come from pleasing everyone. It begins the moment you disappear. Turn off the phone. Silence the notifications. Let the meaningless knocks fade into emptiness. And then you realize you never needed them. It was always they who needed you. But to live this way, you need discipline. Discipline to stay silent when dragged into a pointless drama. Discipline to vanish without explanation. Discipline to say no without trembling. Do you dare? How many hours have you lost simply because you couldn't refuse a small request? If today were your last day, would you give it to someone who disrespects you? Or would you spend it building a fortress of your own? And once you truly reclaim control, you'll feel a shift. Others begin to hesitate. They learn to think twice before touching your time. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. Your rare presence alone is enough to silence the world. Try it today. Turn off your phone for 3 time blocks. Cut notifications from 5 people you don't truly need. Give yourself 1 hour untouched, uninterrupted. And by the end of the day, write down 3 things you refused and 1 thing you did just for yourself. If you're ready to start locking your door, leave 1 word in the comments. Locked. And if you finish the challenge, share the moment when you felt the greatest relief. Because from now on, anyone who wants to enter your life must walk through the door set by your rules. You've locked the outer door. But the more dangerous enemy lives within you, your emotions. And that's why you must learn the art of ice. Have you ever lost your temper and then regretted it? All because of a careless comment, a small insult, a message that kept you awake all night. You thought you were fighting back, but in truth, you just signed the paper that handed someone else the power to control you. The ruthless truth is this. Emotions are the switch others use to manipulate you. Anger, guilt, pity. They are not just feelings. They are chains. Every time you react, you teach them exactly which button to press to make you explode the next time. But the art of coldness does not mean killing your emotions. It means turning them into a secret language, a locked garden with no map for anyone else to follow. People may provoke, but what they face is only a wall of ice. Calm eyes, an unmoved face, an even tone of voice. Silence is never weakness. Silence is the mark of someone who is watching, calculating, waiting for the moment to strike. A businessman in a boardroom, under attack, but only smiling. A fighter in the ring, insulted by his opponent, but his eyes remain steady. That calm presence alone changes the entire room. Pause for a second and ask yourself, do you want to be the king or the puppet? The discipline of becoming emotionally ice-cold begins with small acts. When you hear an insult, breathe deeply. When provoked, keep your tone steady, your steps slow. Inside, waves may crash, but outside you remain a still lake. You choose what is allowed to surface and what must be buried in silence. Test it in real life. When a message annoys you, don't reply right away. When someone attacks you, don't rush to defend yourself. Let silence do its work. You'll notice the other person begins to lose control, while you grow stronger with each moment. And then comes the paradox. They start to fear your calm more than your anger, because anger flares up and then dies out. But icy silence can last forever. In that silence, their imagination paints you as far more dangerous than you truly are. So in the next 24 hours, choose one situation where you usually lose your temper. When it happens, remain silent for exactly 30 seconds. Breathe deeply, hold your rhythm, and let your calm make them stumble. Afterward, write down how you felt and what result came of it. If you've ever been dragged by your emotions and regretted it later, share your story. And if you want to turn calmness into a weapon, leave your commitment right now. Calm is my weapon. Points dog. Still, controlling emotion alone is not enough. To plant unease, you must use an ancient tactic: disappearance. Have you noticed that most of the power others have over you comes from familiarity? They know you'll reply the moment a message arrives. They know where you usually show up and at what time. They know if they catch you at the right moment, you'll soften. The ruthless truth is this: people can only control you when they hold a map of you. And every time you repeat the same habit, you are the one drawing another line on that map. You think you are free, but in reality, you are living inside the map they have memorized. The disappearance tactic is how you burn that map. When you stay silent at the right moment, when you don't appear where they expect you, when their message falls into emptiness, they start to feel uneasy. They ask themselves, where is he? What is she doing? Are they still here for me? And those unanswered questions plant seeds of insecurity inside them. Machiavelli once observed, kings who rarely showed themselves before the people held the greatest power. Their scarcity turned them into legends, while those who appeared too often were quickly disdained. In our modern age, the same principle repeats. Artists who post every day are soon forgotten. Meanwhile, someone disappears for a year, and a single return is enough to make the whole world pay attention. Scarcity is the secret of allure. If you are always available, you become cheap. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. When you disappear, you are not weaker. You become the ghost they fear. Do you dare to try? Dare to turn off your phone for 24 hours? Dare to fall silent in the group chat just to see who truly comes looking for you? How many times have you wanted to rest, but worried others would think you were cold? That very fear has made you their prisoner. When you disappear, you don't lose power. On the contrary, you store it. In that silence, you read, you train, you build yourself. And when you return, you are no longer the same. Sharper, colder, more powerful. Remember this. Constant presence makes you ordinary. Well-timed absence makes you legendary. Humans always crave what is rare, and they fear what they cannot grasp. This week, choose one day to disappear. No social media, no instant messages, no showing up in familiar places. Spend that time building yourself. When you come back, Observe carefully. Who looked for you? Who waited? And more importantly, how different do you feel? If you have ever disappeared and noticed respect grow when you returned, share your story. And if you're ready to try this challenge for the first time, comment one phrase right now. Ghost mode. Let the world know you're ready to burn the map they've been using to control you. The silence of disappearance unsettles them. But there's an even stronger currency that rules people. Attention. Have you ever noticed how a single cold glance can make you anxious for hours? How just one small compliment can lift you to the clouds? You think those are just normal emotions. But here's the ruthless truth. Every time you crave attention, you sell your power at a cheap price. In this world, the most valuable currency is not gold or silver. It is attention. The one who needs attention more is weaker. If you want to Essie, is weaker. If you want to Essie, the one who can live without it is stronger. Manipulators don't need force to control you. All they need is to awaken your hunger for recognition. One compliment softens you. One insult keeps you awake all night. One scene without reply sends you chasing. And just like that, you become the puppet, dancing to their rhythm. Machiavelli saw this clearly. A leader must never reveal dependence on the support of any group, because the moment you need them, you have already chained yourself. Look at the modern world. A fighter in the ring. The opponent insults. The crowd screams. If he explodes in anger, he loses control. But if he just smirks, keeps his breathing steady, it's the opponent who tires himself out. That deliberate indifference is the true currency of power. The more you crave attention, the cheaper you become. The freer you are from it, the more expensive you are. Ask yourself, how many times did you send another message just because someone stayed silent on purpose? How many times did you feel small because someone else was showing off? How many times did you open your phone just to check the number of likes on a picture? Indifference is not pretending you don't care. It is truly not needing attention to exist. And to reach that, you need inner strength. A solid life, built on your own foundation. Your energy must come from within, not from someone else's gaze. In the next 48 hours, try these 3 things. When someone tries to provoke you, stay silent. Just look and smile. When someone brags, shift the conversation to what you want. When someone leaves you chasing after them, let them vanish into their own darkness. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, like an addict missing his fix. But in that emptiness, you are detoxing. And once you overcome the hunger for attention, you become someone who cannot be bought. If you've ever lost yourself because of the thirst for attention, share that story. And if you're ready to reclaim your power, make your commitment in the comments right now. I am my own source. And once you master attention, once you are free from the trap of recognition, you move to the next level. Psychological intimidation. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere drop just because one person was sitting there? They didn't need to shout. They didn't need to threaten. With nothing but a steady gaze and a calm posture, the whole room grew cautious. That is the power of psychological intimidation. The ruthless truth is this: the world is full of people ready to cross boundaries. If you are too approachable, too predictable, too safe, you invite them into your life without a shred of respect. Those without psychological armor are always scrambling, defending, explaining, reacting. And that very desperation makes them even easier to wound. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But fear here doesn't require swords. It comes from the atmosphere of consequence. The unspoken sense that if someone dares to step over the line, the price will not be pleasant. It's Soul. Loud threats only tempt others to test you, but cold silence stops them before they take another step. Think of ruthless leaders. Stalin rarely smiled. He spoke little, yet his silence alone made subordinates tremble. In today's world, you see it in powerful executives and politicians. They never rush to react. They let silence do the work. And in that silence, 1,000 frightening scenarios bloom in the minds of others. Sometimes, no threat is needed at all. Just one pause is enough to make someone retreat. You've felt this before. You asked someone a question and they stayed silent. That silence unsettled you more than any answer could. Or someone held your gaze longer than usual, and it left you uneasy. That is psychological intimidation. So how do you train it? First, words. Speak less, but make every sentence carry weight. Don't ramble. Don't justify. Second, expression. Control your face. A faint smirk can be scarier than rage. Finally, silence. Don't fear it. A pause held long enough can make someone back down. In your next conversation, try this. Stay silent 5 extra seconds after the other person finishes speaking. Hold your gaze. Don't rush to respond. Watch how the atmosphere shifts. You'll see. Sometimes, without shouting, without striking, a person already loses in their own mind. If you've ever witnessed the power of a look or a pause that changed the entire game, share that story. And if you want to challenge yourself, commit by leaving one comment. My silence is power. One cold gaze can spark fear. But to hold power over time, you need a subtler weapon. Scarcity. Have you noticed a strange paradox? The rarer something is, the more people desire it. Gold is not valuable because it is prettier than stone, but because it is rare. And in the world of relationships, it is your scarcity that becomes the true measure of your worth. The ruthless truth is this: if you are always present, you become ordinary. If anyone can easily call you, pull you in, drag you into their story, you become like air, there, but invisible. On the other hand, when you know how to limit your presence, every appearance becomes an event. And events are always respected more than habits. Machiavelli observed this. A ruler who appeared too often before the people lost his majesty, but a king who stepped out only at decisive moments turned every appearance into an uproar. His power multiplied. In the modern world, you see it everywhere. Some people post constantly, show up endlessly, and are quickly forgotten. Meanwhile, someone else disappears for a year, and with a single return, the whole world turns its eyes. Scarcity is what turns them into legends. Show up too often, and you become cheap. Show up rarely, and you become treasure. Now, look at your own life. How many times have you replied to a message instantly, only to realize you weren't respected anymore for it? How many times have you gone to every party, every chat group, only to notice no one even remembered you were there? The tactic of scarcity has 3 layers. First, physical scarcity. Don't attend every gathering. Show up only when your presence can shift the outcome. Second, digital scarcity. Don't be a slave to notifications. Gaps in your replies make your attention more valuable. Third, emotional scarcity. Not everyone deserves to know what you think or how you feel. Keep the deepest part of yourself for yourself. In the next 72 hours, try these 3 steps. Refuse one unnecessary invitation. Delay replying to an unimportant message for at least 6 hours. Keep one deep thought to yourself. Share it with no one. Then, observe what happens. Who starts craving your presence more? Who begins to respect your time more? Because scarcity is not emptiness. It is a weapon. If you've ever disappeared and returned only to see respect rise, share that story in the comments. And if you want to try it today, leave just one word: rare, to declare that you've chosen to become treasure, not a common commodity. Scarcity makes you a legend. But if they can predict your moves, you lose everything. That's why you must become unpredictable. Most people live like open books. Watch them long enough, and you know exactly when they'll get angry, when they'll soften, where they're weak. And once someone can read you, they can control you like a puppet. The ruthless truth is this: predictability is the map that leads straight into your mind. If every insult makes you explode, if every compliment makes you open your heart, if every abandonment makes you chase desperately, then you've handed others the key to your control. Machiavelli stressed this. A ruler must never allow others to predict his next move. Unpredictability breeds fear. No one dares attack when they don't know what will come back at them. In the modern world, look at Elon Musk. He can suddenly launch a product, cancel a project, or shift direction when no one expects it. That very unpredictability keeps him in control. People can't read him, so they must tread carefully. A predictable prey is killed first. But the unpredictable one makes even predators hesitate. Unpredictable does not mean chaotic. It means controlled unpredictability. You change not because you've lost control, but because you want to keep it. You make sure no one else is ever certain, while you know exactly what you're doing. So how do you train this? In your habits. Don't let people know exactly when you're free or when you're online. Break your routine now and then. In your reactions, if you usually stay silent when attacked, one time reply with a cold remark. If you usually melt at praise, one time just smile and walk away. In your decisions, don't always choose the obvious path. Occasionally, do the unexpected so long as it serves your long-term strategy. Think back. Have you ever left someone unsettled simply because they couldn't guess your next move? You saw the confusion in their eyes. Their usual tricks suddenly became useless. That is power. The power that comes from never letting anyone draw a map of you. In the next 48 hours, try one act different from your old pattern. If you usually reply to messages instantly, wait a few hours before responding. If you attend every meeting, decline one. If you usually smile at compliments, just nod silently once. Watch how people react. You'll see confusion, and inside that confusion, your power will appear. If you've ever broken your pattern and shocked the world, share that story. And if you want to commit to training controlled unpredictability, comment, "I am unpredictable," as often, maybe worked. When you are unreadable, they hesitate. But to make them remember forever, you must anchor deep into their psyche. People rarely remember exactly what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. A sentence may be forgotten within hours, but the feeling you left behind can follow them for years. The ruthless truth is this. Most people let this impression form randomly. They walk into conversations unprepared. They react impulsively. And when they leave behind a weak or even damaging impression. Their image becomes framed in the minds of others and cannot be taken back. Machiavelli observed, "A ruler doesn't need to speak much or appear often. They only need to create one strong impression. And that impression becomes an unerasable memory." In today's world, imagine a boss ending a meeting with the words, "I'll remember how you reacted today." That short sentence is enough to keep a subordinate awake for a week. Because what lingers is not just the words, but the feeling of judgment hanging in the air. People may forget your exact words, but they never forget the feeling you planted in them. So, how do you master psychological anchoring? First, set your intention. Decide what you want them to remember. Your calm, your authority, your mystery. Second, control the experience. Your voice, your gaze, your pacing must all align to create the exact feeling you want. Finally, control the exit. Never let a conversation end randomly. End it with a sentence, a look, or an action that keeps echoing in their mind long after you've left. Think back. When was the last time you met a stranger whose image haunted you for days, or had a brief conversation that echoed in your head long afterward? That is the power of psychological anchoring. In the next 24 hours, try this. End one conversation with a line that lingers. Not "okay, bye," but something like, "I'll let you reflect on that," or just a calm, deep gaze before you walk away. Then, observe what remains in their eyes afterward, because power is not in how much you say. Power is in the feeling you leave behind when you walk away in silence. If you've ever met someone who left a lasting impression in just a few seconds, share that story. And if you want to commit to shaping how others remember you, comment, "I choose my impression." And once you've mastered impressions, once every layer of control is in place, the journey leads to the final state, the untouchable mind. Have you ever felt like your mind was an unlocked house? Anyone could walk in, steal your energy, spread chaos, and walk away. You get angry. You get tired. But the truth is, you were the one who left the door open. Most people live this way. They hand over their time to anyone who knocks. They hand over their emotions to anyone who provokes them. They hand over their attention to every meaningless sound on a screen. And when they are drained, they ask, "Why am I always being controlled by others?" But you have taken a different path. You've learned to limit access to become a door that opens only when you choose. You've mastered emotional ice so no one manipulates you easily. You've practiced disappearance, planting unease through absence. You've weaponized scarcity, turning presence into an event. You've built psychological intimidation where one look is enough to make others hesitate. You've trained controlled unpredictability and psychological anchoring so people don't just remember you, they remain cautious of you. And all of this leads to the ultimate state, an untouchable mind. A mind no longer pulled by cheap attention, no longer chained by bursts of anger, no longer predictable, readable, or held in another's grip. When you reach this state, the world begins to revolve around you, instead of you revolving around the world. Imagine this. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, the atmosphere shifts. People measure every sentence, every glance, because they know you are no longer easy to touch. Imagine, an insult is thrown your way, and you don't react, and it is your silence that makes the attacker stumble, lose control. Do you want to live as an open house, for anyone to enter and leave, or as a fortress, one no one dares to test? Building an untouchable mind is hard, but keeping it is even harder. One moment of indulgence, one rash reaction, one craving for attention, and a crack appears. Discipline is the cement that holds the fortress together. Each time you stay silent instead of justifying, you add another layer of defense. Each time you refuse a meaningless demand, you place another brick in the wall. Each time you remain calm under provocation, you add another layer of steel to the gate. This is not a moment of explosion. This is a quiet process, forged day after day, and then one day, you realize you don't need to fight anymore, because no one dares start the fight. People avoid challenging you, because they know the price is too high. You've become the storm on the horizon. No one knows when it will break, but all remain wary. In the next 7 days, choose 3 moments when you usually react weakly: anger, pleasing, or justifying. In each moment, replace the reaction with silence, refusal, or walking away. Record each instance and notice the change inside you. This is ultimate power, the power that doesn't need shouting, arguing, or striking. Power lies in the feeling you leave behind, the knowledge that you cannot be touched. If you've walked with me this far, declare in the comments one sentence: I am untouchable. Not a promise, but a truth you will sharpen every single day. Because from this moment forward, you either live untouchable or you live controlled.